Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Donnelly with Barrier Free Contractors, and this is the Accessible Barrier Free Homes channel. I combine it with the Accessing My Home podcast, so we're actually getting two values for the price of one. Today, we're speaking with Kevin Berry. Kevin is an ADA expert, and he's the owner of ADA Consulting in Southwest Florida. And Kevin is going to speak to us today on ramps. Kevin, thanks for doing this with us. We really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome, Mike.
Talk to us about that ramp situation and what you know and what value you give to our listeners today.
Well, in the commercial environment and in businesses, they're quite constrained to what kind of walking surface they have. And 300 code says that the walking surface must be firm and stable so that you don't have loose gravel or something like that. And that's almost impossible to push a wheelchair through to begin with. And then also is the angle at which you come into the front door. And then when you get into the door jamb, how high the door jamb is. So those are the main things we look at. In housing, it's a little bit different. We're lucky in Florida because we don't have basements in Florida. So most of our entryways are on a flat level surface. But if there are steps, that's something we have to look at and might have to put in a ramp, portable ramp or something like that, where a contractor would be invaluable.
What's your experience with these long ramps, people that have a major issue based on the height of the house, height of the entrance?
Well, the two codes that you use is, first of all, you can't have an angle of more than 1 in 48. And that's like a 2% grade. And so you're allowed to have a door stop at the bottom of the door to prevent rain or, well, I was going to say snow, but we don't have that in Florida, but rain and coming in dirt and things like that. So you might want to, you probably, if you're going to have a little bit steeper than 2%, then you probably want to have a larger door jamb on the bottom that gives you a lower angle to come in with a wheelchair. As far as ramps go, ramps are pretty specific at what they have to be, and backing up a little bit, your floor and ground surface at the beginning of your ramp and at the other end of your ramp are essential because, again, we design these things for wheelchairs, the worst case scenario, but you also have people that aren't in wheelchairs but are unsure of their leg and foot stability. So you want to make sure that's right. The code for ramps going in is 1 in 12. The ramp has to be the same width as the road. And if there is a turn, because of, say, the height is even higher, which isn't too much in Florida, but if the height's even higher, back, because you're only allowed to go a certain distance with your ramp, that has to be 60 by 60 inch for the turn. So 5 feet by 5 feet, clear turn space. As far as the rest of the ramp, the width is set by the sidewalk and the doorway. And so you're pretty good on that. And the nice thing about that is ramps are pretty cheap. You can buy them already made, or you can, if you got a good contractor, you can build them, and it's not rocket science. You just have to maintain that. And the other thing is the railings on the side of the ramp. You want to make sure the railings are the correct height if you have them, and so you use them. So the top railing may not be a good fit. And if you're using the metal ramps, most of those have metal railings that protrude out that give you or somebody in a wheelchair something to grab onto to pull themselves up the ramp.
Kevin, I got a couple quick questions that you've already addressed a little bit of. When you say 1 in 12, what do you mean?
Well, 1 in 12 is for every 12 inches you go forward, you can only go 1 inch in elevation or in height. And because that's designed, again, for wheelchair users, if you have too much of an angle, then it's almost impossible for somebody that's older or a weaker stature to get up the ramp. The other thing is coming down the ramp. You don't want to make the ramp so steep coming down that when you start coming down, you lose control and you go straight out into the driveway of the street. So in houses, it's a little bit different. They make these real nice ramps that you can put in, that you can buy already pre-made. They're metal. They just, you have to do the substructure of the concrete to set them on or whatever you're putting them on. But then once they're in place, And it's also good for people that are renting, because in a rental, they can't prevent you from having a ramp or having some sort of entryway, but it may be in your rental agreement. And when you leave, you have to return the front of the house or wherever you have your ramp back to the normal height. Now, garage, it's a lot. If you have one in a garage too, you just have to use the same criteria, 1 and 12 for the ramp height. The other thing is, we don't have a problem in Florida much, but if you go above 30 inches, then you have to have a switchback or a 60-inch by 60-inch stop halfway up, so that somebody comes up, they can stop there, rest, and then go the rest of the way up, or make a turn to go in. Yeah. So leave it up to your contractor. They should know the code. The code is in there. And again, it's either permanent if somebody owns a house, or it's temporary if they're renting a house. But under fair housing, nobody can prevent you from putting in a temporary ramp, or putting in a ramp that you agree to remove, or it might even have to put in a financial thing to pay for that to be removed at the time you leave.
Wonderful. All right. So one of the things that when we do these ramps, and you addressed it a little bit earlier, was, to bring the ramp, the beginning of the ramp down onto grass or asphalt or gravel rather. I like building like a little 4x4 or 5x5 concrete pad at the bottom. What's your opinion about that?
Well, it says that the ramp should exit onto a clear, clean, and stable surface. Stable is an interpretation that everybody uses. It's a little bit different. It's a federal determination. What I consider stable in a wheelchair may not be considered stable to somebody else. So I like the idea of putting in at the bottom a stable pad, and the same at the top, so that you don't have to fight with loose gravel or anything. So if you can exit your ramp out onto the driveway, which is paved, that's great. Asphalt, concrete, that's the best thing. Try to exit your ramp out onto solid surface. The other thing on the top, it's the same thing on the top. Make sure that you exit your ramp onto a solid, stable surface. And that surface is 60 inches long, level. So when you come up to a door, there's nothing worse than in your wheelchair. You come up a ramp to the door and you let go of your wheel to reach the handle and you start rolling backwards.
Oh, geez.
And I've done that several times, and it's like an effort in futility, because there's nothing. And then so if you put your brakes on in your wheelchair and you open the door, now you can't open it all the way because now your wheelchair's in the way. So then you release the brakes and then you roll backwards and the door closes. So it's okay if you got somebody with you to help you, but if you don't, I sat outside the door knocking on the door at a medical facility for about 5 minutes before someone came up and
my God,
if I needed help. So
unbelievable.
It's got to be a level surface on the top, level surface on the bottom, and it says firm and stable. What your interpretation of firm and stable is a contractor's nightmare. Let your contractor know. I use a wheelchair. It rains in Florida, so dirt that's stable today may not be stable tomorrow. It may be mud. So exit it onto a firm, stable area.
Beautiful. Okay, you heard it from Kevin. Gave you some great insight on ramps and all the needs for that ramp to exist. Kevin, thanks for your expertise. And I want to tell you, all those who thought this was a great value, which it was, please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to receive our new videos as they get posted. Kevin, as always, bud.
Can I just add one thing? Make sure if they're doing any kind of modification to your house or to the outside to meet your needs as an ADA, make sure you use a qualified contractor that knows and understands the ADA code, because if they don't, you're not going to end up being very happy with the final product. So make sure, ask your contractor, do you know what the ADA code is and what are you going to do before they do it?
Love it. Thanks, bud. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
All right. See you later.